Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. And it's Friday, and I know all you working stiffs are happy it's Friday, right? All right, well, first of all, I wanted to give a shout out to my loyal viewers, all of you, anybody who watches me, thank you. I really mean that. And then, especially to the ones that checked me out on the show when I was invited to do a podcast. Um, and it was called Bears Country Podcast. And it's Dan, he runs it. So I did one on the 28th of September. It was a Wednesday. And then I just did a second one 2 days ago, this past Wednesday. So you might want to check that out. And moving forward, every Wednesday, Dan and I are going to do a show on his podcast, on his site, again, under Bears Country Podcast. And he's calling it the Down Low with Lynn. I'm becoming famous. Excuse me, I'm at the end of a virus here, so I apologize. I will be coughing. I'll try not to too many times, but yeah, I don't think I'm really going to be famous. I'm just kidding. But you know what? Like a lot of my friends have said to me, you love doing it. It's your hobby. Go for it, right? So I am. But I do want to thank everybody who does follow me on this show and who will check me out on the other show if you want to. I mean, if you're bored, check us out. You know, you can always just turn on the show and let it run and walk away. Just give us views. All right, let's get to Let's Talk Chicago Bears, right? Um, so we are playing the Minnesota Vikings this Sunday in Minnesota. The Vikings are 3-1, and our Bears, we know, are 2-2. The Vikings have played. The Bears and the Vikings have played 120 times, including one postseason game, and the Bears are losing by much. The Bears have won 57 games, and the Vikings have won 61 games, and there was actually 2 ties along the way. I hate ties. So it's fairly even, but I'm sure after probably in the last 10 years is when Minnesota took us over, because let's face it. So, well, let's talk about it. Let's compare the two teams. And what they have. So Minnesota's, they're passing per game about 246 yards a game. That puts them 13th in the league out of 32 teams. The Bears are dead last at 97.5 yards. They're dead last at 32nd. And I don't even think the team at 31st is even close to the Bears. Pretty sad, isn't it? We do beat them in the rush. Minnesota rushes for an average of 98 yards a game, which puts them 22nd in the league. We are averaging right now 133 yards. Let's hope that keeps up. And that puts us in 3rd in the league. And that's about the only good things the Bears are doing on offense. Minnesota scores about an average of 21.5. That puts them 15th in the league. The Bears, almost dead last. They score 16 points a game average, and that puts them 31st in the league out of 32 teams. The Bears' defense, these guys are fairly close. The Minnesota, I mean, it's close point-wise, but there's probably a lot of teams there. So Minnesota's defense allows an average about 20 points a game, which it said it put them 12th. The Bears average about 19, and that puts them 19th. So there's probably a lot of teams in the middle there that are all scoring around the same average. So pretty much Minnesota beats us on everything right there, except for the run. So let's talk about the Minnesota offense and what they have. Their quarterback is Kirk Cousins. He went to Michigan State. I actually watched him play at Michigan State. Cousins is one of these quarterbacks that could be, you're never sure which Kirk is going to show up. Good one or bad one. I'm hoping the bad one shows up on Sunday. But so he's a very up and down quarterback. He hasn't really produced the way I think Minnesotans would like since they signed him years ago to a big contract. So we'll see what happens. But right now he's got a passing. His yards are 1,031 yards so far. He has 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, and he's been sacked 7 times. Excuse me, I'm pretty sure Fields would love to have just 7 times, right? Their running back is Delvin Cook, and he has rushed for 279 yards so far, and he's actually fumbled the ball twice. So I'm hoping the Bears can get in there and punch that ball out. Let's get it. Let's get some more turnovers. I predicted 2 last week. We got them, but we still lost the turnover battle, as I told you on Monday. So now I got to predict 3, right? They've got a very good receiver in Justin Jefferson. He has got 393 yards so far, 2 touchdowns, and he has no turnovers. So he is a really good receiver. And um, Jalen Johnson, who is our cornerback, has been out the last few weeks, and we desperately are going to miss him because I'm doing the show a little early today in Vegas, so I checked the report. They didn't have Friday's injury report out, but Jalen Johnson did not practice at all this week, so on Tuesday or Wednesday and Thursday. So my guess is he's not going to be in the game, and unfortunately he's going to be missed because then it's just all rookies out there. Where you got Eddie Jackson, but he's a safety, so it's gonna be a little interesting. And then their next, they've got another wide receiver, Adam Thielen, who's got 221 yards. So they've got some passing yards, these two receivers. And when we talk about the Bears, you'll see we're not even close. Okay. So it's going to be interesting because they got talent on this team, and if they're gelling and it's all working for them, and the Bears are going to have their hands full. I'm just saying. Their defense, Minnesota's defense, has 9 sacks total right now, which beats us because I believe we only have 7. 3 interceptions and 3 fumble recoveries. So they're a good team. All right, let's go and we'll look at our team now, okay? So the Bears' offense is quite pathetic. We all know that. Fields has passed for a lowly little 471 yards. That's more like peewee football. He's got 2 touchdowns with 4 interceptions, so he's got to flip this somewhere along the line. I don't even remember last time he scored a touchdown. I think those 2 touchdowns came in week 1 and 2. I really do. So he has got to flip that narrative. He has got to, and he's been sacked 16 times. Yeah, 16 times. That poor kid. He probably has nightmares about defensive linemen chasing him down. Do you know what I mean? Oh my God. God bless him. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, though. And then let's talk about a rusher. So Herbert, as we know, David Montgomery. He did practice a little bit yesterday, but my guess is I don't know if we'll see him. I personally don't want them to put him in unless he's 100% because we have a lot of season left, and Herbert, number 24, is very capable of filling in for David, and he has 317 yards right now rushing with 3 TDs. Humphrey does. So I would not put David in until he is 100%. So we'll see, but we'll see. I'm not the coach, right? I just play one on TV. Boom, boom. Okay, Mr. Mooney, kind of not great numbers either. He only has 121 receiving yards, no touchdowns. The next closest to him is St. Brown, number 19, and he only has 86 yards. And Cole Kmet, our tight end, number 85, has 56 yards receiving. That is just pathetic. So we have got to turn this around, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit when I get done with the stats. I mean, oh my God, it's really embarrassing. So yes, as I was saying, Minnesota has 9 sacks. We have 7 sacks. We got to change that too. Excuse me. And then we have 4 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries, but the Bears have actually forced 8 fumbles, but they've only recovered 3 out of the 8. But I like the fact that they're forcing them. So that's what our defense has got to do. It is just huge that they are trying punching that ball out this week. And then, so the injuries, as I said, Jalen Johnson, David Montgomery probably out, and there are some other non-notable players that are probably not going to play. Now, the Bears have activated wide receiver K. Neal Harry, And gosh, I think he's number 8. Yeah, he is. And unfortunately, Cody Whitehair is on IR, so he'll be out for the next 4 games. So I'm hoping that K. Neil Harry, number 8, he's a big guy, and this is the kind of guy we need that can go up and catch the ball over the defenders. And this guy is supposed to be that guy, but he's been hurt. He's not played this year. He hurt himself in camp 1st of August, and he has not been in yet. So I'd really like to see this guy because Fields could use him. Last week, there was 2 passes that Fields threw, and they were beautiful, where he just threw them over the defender, where only his receivers could catch them, and both times they were dropped, and both times they should have been caught. So maybe number 8, Harry, can be that guy. I don't know if he's going to play this week. I know they activated him, and he has practiced a little, so he may or may not play. Again, I don't know the injury report today, so your announcer is a little, doesn't have all the facts. But the line is going to be really hurting with Cody Whitehair missing. There's just no doubt about it. When he was in there, he was one of the best players we have, and the line was still bad. So we're going to get into all that. So let's hope that number 8, Harry, wide receiver, does start this game, or at least play. So as I said before, so we're going to talk about, what the team needs to do. Obviously, the defense needs to stop the run. Needs to. I mean, it was pathetic last week. 262 yards on the run, and it was all mostly bootlegs. I mean, you're freaking kidding me. Really? And they forced turnovers, but the Bears' offense did nothing with them. So I think they got 3 points. Well, obviously 3 points. They got 3 points from one of the turnovers. The other turnover, Jackson got an interception. The Bears went 3 and out with the offense right after that. So the Bears defense has a lot of work to do, as I said. And with JJ, our cornerback, being out, I don't expect to see him in this game. If he does, I'd be thrilled, but I doubt it. It's going to hurt us because then it's all rookies back there. And if Kirk Cousins gets going and the good Kirk shows up, we're going to be in trouble because they're going to run the ball on the Bears for sure because they know the Bears can't stop the run. Maybe the Bears defense will show up and stop the run this week. They have got to. That defensive line in the front has got to start making more plays. And maybe Quinn, 94, will show up and earn his paycheck this week because he certainly hasn't yet this year. And but if Kirk Cousins is humming, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Bears defense because what they can do, if they start running the ball and he can pass it, they're going to mix it up. It's going to be long. So what we need to do is get in his face because Kirk Cousins can get very frustrated. And if you can frustrate him, he'll make some errors. So we'll see. Let's hope the bad Kirk shows up this week and the Bears, then it'll be not so bad. But I'm pretty sure the Bears are going to have, defense is going to have their hands full with Cousins and that great wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, and with our best cornerback not playing, going to be a problem. Now, and the thing about the defense, too, is I want to see him get in there and punch out some more turnovers. Dalvin Cook has fumbled it twice to running back, so vulnerable. Let's see if we can do that, and then maybe we can get at Kirk Cousins, their quarterback, to make an interception or two, get in his face. We could be rocking and rolling. So let's see. Go defense. And the offense. Well, you know what? I don't even have to tell you about the offense. It's bad. And it's bad for a lot of reasons. Youth, as I've mentioned very, very often. New coaching staff. Terrible offensive line. I mean, and Justin is just running for his life back there. He has sparks of good play, but the line is not giving him enough time. And then it seems like at times the line does hold up, but he doesn't feel comfortable and he takes off. So there's a lot of work to do. I just hope that they get this thing figured out somehow. Otherwise, we're going to be messing that kid up in his head big time. And he's going to have nightmares for years. And sometimes when quarterbacks get sacked as much as he has so far, and if it continues, it can really hurt them physically and mentally. And it could be a problem. So let's just hope that they get this turned around or do something. And the offensive coordinator, as I mentioned on Monday's show, I'm not digging him too much. He's too vanilla with these plays. I think he needs to do shorter passes. Yeah, I'd love to see the long passes. Do not get me wrong. But no one's in there that can catch. Now, Harry, the wide receiver number 8 that's coming back, maybe he's the answer. But, of course, I mean, if we can get that guy going, he could be the number 1, and Mr. Mooney could be number 2. We might be able to get Justin Fields rolling, right? But I would start it out with some small, short passes, and maybe to your running backs and your tight ends, do a pass like you do a run. You want to get 5 yards on the run, then do a 5-yard pass, just to start getting some rhythm and some confidence for Justin Fields. He has not been able to get in a rhythm probably since week 1. And so I'd like to see that, and that's really what he needs. So let's hope that the offensive coordinator, Luke, whatever his name is, who came from damn Green Bay, starts calling better plays, because I've been starting to have Nagy nightmares and flashbacks. It's like, I don't need to go back to the 80s, 70s, and 80s, the drug flashbacks. It's now a Nagy flashback. Excuse me. So we know it's going to be a tough game on Sunday. The Bears have to show up, and they've got to be playing, how Coach Flus likes. They've got to hit. They've got to get interceptions. They got to do smart situational football. All that stuff they got to play, and they got to play to the end. Although I will give the Bears a lot of credit, they always seem to be playing to the end, but I mean really, they got to finish this game, and they got to score touchdowns this week. Touchdowns. So, okay, so we're going to go over real quick what it was my 3 top things, my 3s, to win the game or be in the game. In the game or win it. Number 1, if you watch my show, you're already saying it, penalties. They've got to have 5 or less penalties. Number 2, they've got to win the time of possession. Time of possession, as I say every week, is so important because, number 1, it keeps your defense off the field, your offense on the field. It keeps their defense on the field and their offense off the field. And the Bears, when they touch the ball, they've got to score, and I mean more than 3 points. But it's important that they score. So they got to win the penalty battle, turnover battle, time of possession battle, and the third one is turnovers. The Bears have got to win the turnover battle. They lost that last week, even though they had 2. But we've got to cause more turnovers and give it back to our offense. And our offense was terrible last week. They had 6 turnovers, but we only lost 3 out of the 6. So they've got to hang on to the ball too, and that means Fields. He's got to start protecting that ball. When he starts running, I see it, and he's out with it like this. He's not getting it towards his body. He's got to bring it into his body, and he's not doing that. And people can punch it out, especially come up behind him, punch it out. So our offense has got to hold on to things. So my 3s, win the penalties, time of possession, and turnovers. You've got a damn good chance to win the game, if not win it. So that's what I'm telling you, because I'm Lynn from Let's Talk Chicago Bears. So I did want to tell a little story. I haven't really told any Bear stories yet this year. Throughout the 3 years, I plug in my stories here and there because I got some great ones. And this is a good one. On October 19th, back in 2008, the Minnesota Vikings were in Soldier Field playing the Bears. And I'm not going to get too dark and sad here, but I had lost my husband that April. We had been married over 28 years. He was only 49 years old. He went through a terrible 17-year ordeal with this god awful disease he had, and we were extremely close. I mean, he was my best friend, and so he passed away in April, and in October of that year, my sister, she knew the personal trainer. He lived in her neighborhood. The two daughters went to school together, so he got us tickets, 4 tickets. We did have to pay a price, but not a lot, and we were on the main level of Soldier Field. And we were probably on, I'm trying to remember, it was probably about the 35-yard line. So they were pretty good, 35-yard line. They were pretty good. And we were on the main level, and we were in the last row of the seats, which was awesome because, number one, you could run to the bathroom real quick, which was right behind us. In a minute, you're going to know why I'm mentioning that. And then you could sit on the back of your seat. So you could sit up higher because I'm so short. I'm 5'1", and then you could see over. So this game was freaking crazy. The score was 41 Minnesota, 48 Bears. And the Bears quarterback, if you've been a Bears fan a long time, Kyle Orton. Remember him? He was the Bears quarterback. Matt Forte was the running back. Greg Olsen was still on the team as our tight end. Remember that great tight end? So and Minnesota had turned the ball over 5 times. I know. It was crazy. You couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. That's how crazy it was. Because both teams scored in every quarter and multiple times. It was like, one would score, like the Bears would score, and then they'd kick it off, and then Minnesota would get it, and then they would fumble it or intercept it. And you're like, oh my God. And it was one hell of a great game. It was one of the greatest games I had ever seen live. And we couldn't even go to the bathroom. It was freaking hilarious. And I remember saying to my friends, I went with my sister and then 2 other friends, my friend Mary Kay and then another friend of ours at the time, Sue. And we had a blast. And I looked over to my sister and I said, and my sister looked at me and said, I think this is the first time I've seen you smile and laugh since April. And I'm like, I think you were right. It was the best medicine anybody could have. We were laughing. People in Soldier Field were just going insane because it was just back and forth. 41-48. And it came right down to the end. It was a phenomenal game. I mean, stat-wise, it probably didn't look good for you to defense, but it was so much fun. So that's my Minnesota story. And so, yes. So, you know what? Wouldn't it be fun to have one of those again? But we know that's not going to happen this week. I just want the Bears to win. We could really use a win here, but to do this, number one, we have to do my top 3s, and they got to play air-free football. And that means the line has to step up, the offensive line. Every player has got to come to play. I don't think the Bears on paper, and if I wasn't a Bears fan, I would pretty much pick Minnesota to win. But I'm a Bears fan, and I'm always going to say the Bears are going to win. And but it's going to be tough, people. But we're going to stick to it. It's going to be, I told you, a long season, up and down. There's going to be good games and bad. It's very frustrating. There's no doubt about it. I know my son was so depressed after last week's game. I was mad, and I give myself that 24-hour rule of being pissed off, sad, mad, whatever, and then you got to move on. And I have said multiple times it is going to be one of those years. But the thing that just sucks is that we wait all year long. We wait those few months, because we have football from August, once camp starts, to February when the Super Bowl's. And then you've got a little Bear stuff in April when the draft happens, and then that's it. So there's about 4 months there where we got no football, and we just can't wait, and we wait, and we wait. And then, especially after last year, it was another shitty year. They got rid of Nagy, did all that, so we're all pumped up. We can't wait, and then it's like, man, this is what we get to look at every Sunday? So it is depressing. But we've got to get through this year. And as I've said, we've got to improve every week. I haven't really seen that a lot. There's been some sparks. There's some players, which I'll talk about as the season goes on, that I'm seeing, but I'd like to see some more sparks from some of these youngsters to give us hope for next year. So, Bears fans, we know it's hard, but we love our Bears. If you're a real fan, you're going to stick around. You're not a fair weather fan. I know that. And believe me, I know. I've been a fan since 1975. So, yeah. So, go Bears. I really want to see them win it. Let's hope, right? So, as I said in the beginning of my show, I am now on another show on Wednesday nights. Well, the show we record it Wednesday night. So by the time he's on the East Coast, so he's 3 hours ahead of me. Dan, the gentleman I do it with, excuse me on the cough. And so the show comes out late Wednesday. So I always say it'll be dropped by Thursday morning. So, and his show is, the tag name is Bears Country Podcast. And on Wednesdays, the show will be called The Lowdown with Lynn. I know. Is that not like cool? And I love Dan. Great guy. We found out when we both lived in Illinois. We lived a few miles from each other. And if you watch the shows, you'll know we talk about it. He's younger than me. He's about 18 years younger than me, and 17, 18. And he worked at this one place called Sammy's, best beefs and fries ever. And he probably waited on me and my husband and my son. So we laughed about that. So check us out if you want. If you're bored or you want to listen to more Bears, or if you just want to turn the shows on, like this show and that show, and just walk away and come back and give us views. Rock on, baby. All right. As always, I thank you for watching my show and the other show if you do. I'm getting close to 300 subscribers. I'm really jacked about it. All my friends say, though, that's not what you should subscribe for. You want to go higher. And I said, well, of course, but one step, baby steps, right? So if I hit 300, then I'll shoot for 400. Hey, I'm just grateful one person watches my show. I love you guys. As always, I thank you. And I want you to be kind to people. I want you to stop hate. Let's stick together. Let's help each other out and smile at people when you see them. It is so gratifying to be out smiling. You smile at somebody and you could tell they're kind of and then they see the smile and they smile back. And that just lifted them up. So let's do this, okay? Because we're Chicago Bears fans and we are good people. Right on. Okay. So on that note, thanks for watching. Go Bears and keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. And I will see you on Monday. And hopefully it'll be a victory Monday. And if they win, I will sing the Bears victory song. I know. Now you want them to win, right? See you later, baby.